In 1958, the US Navy unveiled a machine it promised would soon walk, talk, see, write, even reproduce itself. Oh, and be conscious. What it could really do, though, was tell left from right. To be fair, that's more than some humans manage. And it would take another 60 years and a few spectacular failures before a machine got anywhere near that 1958 promise. This is the story of how we got from there to AI worth more than most countries on Earth. Because once you see how we got here, what happens next becomes less surprising. The machines have been getting smarter ever since, and you could argue we have been heading the other way. But that is a different video. Here is the thing nobody tells you. The dream of building an artificial mind is not new. It's not even close to new. Around the 8th century BCE, in Homer's Iliad, the god Hephaestus, the god of blacksmiths, fire, amongst other things, builds himself a golden servant woman, and Homer says they had, I quote, understanding in their hearts, and speech, and strength. So almost 3,000 years ago, someone's first instinct was, I would like a smart machine that does all my chores. And we've not had a single new idea since. The Greeks wrote about Talos, a giant bronze robot that patrolled Crete 3 times a day. The engineer Heron of Alexandria built a coin-operated machine and self-opening temple doors, even in the 1st century. So humans were lazy, even back then. And by the year 1206, the inventor Al-Jazari, often referred to as the father of robotics, had designed a programmable band of 4 robot musicians on a boat, their rhythm set by pegs on a rotating drum. Arguably better than some of the, quote, artists these days. He had built a drum machine 800 years early, and the only thing missing was the will to start a band. Then in the year 1770, Wolfgang von Kempelen, and yes, I probably butchered that name, wheels out the Mechanical Turk, a machine that plays chess, beats nobles, beats Napoleon, and it's secretly a guy. Yes, there is a chess master crammed inside a box the whole time. Hold on to that thought of the sweaty man in a box. He comes back. He always comes back. Fast forward to 1950. A British mathematician named Alan Turing publishes a paper in the journal Mind with a deceptively simple opening line. Can machines think? Turing decides that the philosophical question was too vague, so he replaces it with a game. Put a human and a machine behind a wall and let a judge type questions to both. If, after 5 minutes, the judge can't reliably tell which is which, the machine wins. So he invented the Are You a Robot test in 1950. Ironically, now machines test us to see if we're human. We play the Capture Are You Human test, where we have to click traffic lights and bikes for 5 minutes straight. Turing then does something genuinely wild. Working in an era where computers filled an entire room, he predicts that by the end of year 2000, a machine with about 125 megabytes of memory, ancient in modern terms, would pass his test often enough to fool the average person. He was early, but the man saw the whole board, just like the chess master would. And all of this from 1950. He also listed 9 objections people could throw at thinking machines and knocked them down one by one. One objection he named, and I promise this is real, heads in the sand. That's the academic term for I don't like this feature, therefore it won't happen. Keep that one too, it also comes back. The field of AI gets its name in the summer of 1956 at a workshop at Dartmouth College in New Hampshire. 4 organisers: John McCarthy, Marvin Minsky, Nathaniel Rochester and Claude Shannon, pitch a 2-month study to the Rockefeller Foundation. And it's in that proposal to the Rockefeller Foundation that McCarthy coins the term artificial intelligence. Their pitch was confident. The plan, explained roughly, was to get about 10 people together for 8 weeks and teach machines to use language, form concepts and improve themselves. Naturally, they thought a good chunk of this was a summer problem. It was a nerdy summer camp, logic instead of s'mores, and the to-do list was solve the nature of intelligence before September. For the record, Claude Shannon wanted to call the field automata studies, so in that respect, I'm glad artificial intelligence won. Branding matters. In the end, they didn't build a thinking machine that summer, but they did turn a vague dream into an actual scientific field, and breed a generation of very smart people who are about to be very confidently wrong about the timeline. Which brings us back to 1958 and that Navy machine. It was called the Mark I Perceptron, and any name with Tron in is inherently cool. Built by a Cornell psychologist named Frank Rosenblatt. And it was, genuinely, a big deal. One of the first machines that learned, adjusting itself from its mistakes instead of following fixed instructions. The ancestor of every neural network running today. The problem wasn't the machine. The problem was the press release. The New York Times announced the Navy's wild list of promises that I opened this video with. What it could actually do, after about 50 tries on an IBM computer weighing 5 tons, tell a card marked on the left from a card marked on the right. 5 tons of hardware to do a thing your phone could do 1 billion times before breakfast. This is the pattern of this entire story. The demo is real, the press release is from the year 3000. Fast forward 11 more years to 1969, 2 researchers, Minsky and Papert, sorry but during names again, publish a book proving the simple perceptron couldn't handle certain basic logic. The hype curdles and funding dries up. Just one math book helped freeze neural network research for about 15 years. Never underestimate a bad review. Because here's what AI does that almost no other field does. It has winters. Periods where everyone decides the whole thing is nonsense and the money vanishes. Another big freeze in 1973, the British government commissioned one report, the Lighthill Report, which basically says AI has overpromised and underdelivered. 70 pages. It freezes most of Britain's AI research for over a decade. In an AI winter, researchers get the academic version of being ghosted. One day it's robot butlers, the next your grant has dried up like the Sahara Desert. But in the 1980s, AI gets briefly, genuinely useful. The trick is expert systems. You set a human expert down, you extract everything they know into thousands of if this then that rules, and the machine follows them. One of these, called XCon, configured orders for a company, DEC, and reportedly saved them tens of millions of dollars a year by being relentlessly good at one boring thing: filling out the order form correctly. The job of squeezing a genius's intuition into rules even got a name: knowledge engineering. But there was a big catch. It didn't scale. Thousands of brittle, handwritten rules running on expensive specialist hardware that cheaper computers were about to make obsolete. So by 1987, the boom collapsed straight into another winter that lasted to the 90s. 3 winters, same lesson, ignored each time. The demo works, the promises don't. Then, 1997, IBM builds a chess machine called Deep Blue, and points it at Garry Kasparov, the world champion, and maybe the best human chess player the world had ever seen. The year before, Kasparov had beaten an earlier version. This time the rematch is 6 games, and the machine is monstrous. 30 processors, 480 custom chips, looking at 2 million chess positions every second. Deep Blue wins, 3.5 to 2.5. The first time a computer beat a reigning world champion in a real match. But the strange part is how it won. In Game 2, the machine made a quiet, subtle move that looked too human, too wise. It rattled Kasparov so badly he suspected IBM had a person secretly feeding it moves. A grand master, convinced there was a human hiding inside the machine. 227 years after the mechanical Turk. Could the sweaty man be back? Could history have repeated itself? The twist. Engineers later said that the genius move had actually been a bug. A fallback when the machine got stuck, the computer glitched, and Kasparov read it as brilliance. So IBM won, then immediately dismantled the Deep Blue and refused a rematch. Take the trophy, delete the save file. Smells a little fishy if you ask me. Deep Blue was brute force. It didn't understand chess, it just calculated faster than any human alive. The real revolution comes in 2012 with systems that train on millions of labelled photos, pioneered by Fei Li on the project ImageNet a few years earlier. 3 researchers from Toronto, Krivetsky, Suskova and Hinton, enter a system called AlexNet into an image recognition contest. And it doesn't just win, it demolishes all the competition. Its error rate is more than 10% below everyone else's. And the same year, Google ran an experiment that made all of this famous. They pointed a giant neural network at 10 million random YouTube thumbnails, told it nothing, no labels, no instructions, nothing. They just let it look on its own. And it grew a patch of artificial neurons that lit up for exactly one thing. Cats. Nobody taught it what a cat was. It figured the cat out by itself, and it liked it. Which is either the most impressive or the most inevitable thing the internet has ever produced. So in short, AI is definitely a cat person. After 60 years of trying to program intelligence, rule by rule, the revolution was letting them figure it out themselves. The thing that finally worked was funny cat videos. One footnote that matters. A grad student on that 2012 AlexNet project, Ilya Sutskever, goes on to co-found OpenAI. This cat-loving pipeline runs in a straight line to ChatGPT. 2017. 8 researchers at Google publish a paper with a title that sounds like a self-help book. Attention is all you need. It introduces the transformer. No bumblebee here. And the core idea is almost rude in how simple it sounds. Instead of reading a sentence word by word, in order, like everything before it, read all the words at once and learn which ones matter to each other. That one change gave these models the ability to work in parallel, processing all the words at once instead of one after the other, which meant, for the first time, you could train one on basically the entire internet. Almost every AI you have ever spoken to, ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, is, under the hood, running this 2017 idea. The title sounds like relationship advice. It was actually relationship advice. Just for words. 8 people, 12 pages, and the accidental blueprint for everything that happened next. Then it becomes a size contest. 2018, OpenAI's first GPT has 117 million parameters. Think of those as the dials the model can tune. 1 year later, 2019, GPT-2, 10 times bigger. OpenAI was so nervous about GPT-2, in 2019 they refused to release the full thing, worried it was too dangerous. One more year, 2020, GPT-3, 175 billion parameters. And then, 3 years after deciding the smaller one was too dangerous to release, they put a chatbot built on it onto a public website for free for the entire planet. It was called ChatGPT. It launched on the 30th of November 2022 and it reportedly hit 100 million users in the first few months. The fastest app in history. Faster than TikTok, faster than Instagram, and a tiny bit faster than my YouTube channel. It did this by doing one genuinely new thing. It answered when you typed. And the moment it worked, the race begun. Microsoft put a reported $10 billion into OpenAI. Google scrambled out Bard, Meta open source Llama, Anthropic shipped Claude. Within months, every giant on Earth was sprinting in the same direction. Which brings us to now. The models can see, hear, talk, write code, and run for 2 million word conversations. The companies building them, Nvidia, Microsoft, Google, are worth trillions of dollars. We started this video with a 5-ton machine that could barely tell left from right. We're ending it with software worth more than most countries' entire economies. And here's the punchline the whole story has been building to. We got AI wrong in both directions at once. For decades we loudly promised it would just be around the corner, and it wasn't. Again and again. So when it actually arrived, quietly in a research lab, while no one was paying attention, we'd cried wolf so many times that almost nobody noticed. It didn't announce itself. It showed up one Tuesday as a free website and caught the entire planet off guard. The same species that once hid a sweaty man inside a chess box also eventually built a real mind out of cat videos. It learned to draw, it learned to win, it learned to talk, all in a single human lifetime. For almost 3,000 years, humans dreamed of building an artificial mind. The strange part isn't that we finally did it. The strange part is now we're not entirely sure what happens next.